Chapter 1. The Arrival. Present time. Jacob just arrived at his high-end condo unit in Makati at 3 a.m. after a very long journey abroad. He had been out of the country for 3 years because he needed to attend to his business in Los Angeles City, California, USA. Despite being tired from the trip, he immediately unpacked his things because he had a lot to do today before meeting his friends for dinner tonight. It's been quite a sad couple of years, not only for him, but also for his family, because they've lost someone special, someone they deeply loved, his elder brother, Liam. It is still painful for Jacob to think about him, because he is not only a brother to him, but also a dear friend. But life must go on. For Jacob, he mustn't stop living his life because his brother died. He must keep on living his life because many people depend on him. He must not take for granted his responsibilities because all of their employees' futures depend on the success of their business. A business that has been there for 3 decades now. Liam was about to take over the business when the time came for his dad, Antonio Fernandez, to retire from being the CEO of the company. He was the eldest among 3 children. It is customary in the business that the eldest child of the family must be given the responsibility to take over the CEO position when parents retire from working in a family business. Jacob's family honors that tradition. But because of Liam's death, no one else was obliged to take it but Jacob, since his younger sibling, Leah, had no intention of handling the company, despite being one of its top shareholders. The fact that she wasn't technically inclined, her passion for work, was not inclined to that said business. Although she is a business kind of person, she focuses on the fashion kind of business. And since her business is thriving nowadays, she needs to focus on it as of the moment. It was a big shoe to fill for Jacob in running the company, but he is confident that he can manage the business. His father had been teaching him and his siblings during summer vacations about the ropes of their businesses. Also, he has been working full-time for 5 long years as the senior head architect for international projects of the company before Liam's death. So he has an idea about the pros, the cons, and the work they've been dealing with within the company. Besides, he was given the chance to train how to manage the business for 2 years before his father officially turned over to him Liam's supposed position as CEO in the company. His father wanted to make sure that he is ready to lead the company to greater heights. But before he starts working in that new position that he has taken over, he asked his dad to take a leave from work to settle some important things that he needed to settle. He can't have his mind focus on work if his mind is wandering for something else or someone else. That's why he needs a vacation. That's why he is here in the country. He has a mission to fulfill, not only to meet his brother's wish, but also his own. He finished unpacking and organizing everything. He was so tired and needed rest, so he went to bed and tried his luck to get some sleep. He needs to ensure that he is well rested and fresh when he meets his friends tonight. It is important for him to attend tonight's dinner with friends because he knows for sure that she will be there, the woman that keeps him awake at night, the woman he has longed to see all these years, the woman that makes his heart beat fast forever. He needs to be there tonight, and he needs to be at his best when he sees her. It's Friday today, and the streets will be packed with commuters. The volume of traffic is expected, so he needed to be at the venue as early as he could He doesn't want to be stuck in traffic and be late for the said dinner. He had been lying in bed for half an hour now, but he couldn't sleep. He couldn't understand why he was restless, despite being so tired and jet-lagged from the travel. He tried so hard to clear his mind to sleep, but to no avail. Partly because it is hard for him to shake the thought of meeting her. He was so excited to see his special person, the woman that he has loved for a very long time. Since sleeping doesn't favor him, he got up from his bed. He needed to have a drink to help him sleep. He went to the kitchen, took a glass from the cupboard, opened a bottle of scotch from the cabinet, poured some of it into his glass with some ice from the fridge, and stirred the liquid with his index finger before taking a sip. He paused for a moment and savored the taste of his favorite drink. It is good, he thought. Then he went toward his brown leather couch in the living room and sat on it. He took the whole bottle of his drink and his glass with him, thinking that if he can't sleep, then he might as well get himself drunk. Maybe if he is drunk, his mind could let him sleep. As he was sitting on his couch, sipping his drink, he was trying to keep his mind busy by looking around the four corners of his condo. The condo is the same as he left it 3 years ago, but it was clean and tidy. A cleaning employee from his office would come and clean the space every weekend. It's a usual routine for that employee even before he left for the US. 2 of them came yesterday to prepare the condo for him, including buying groceries for his consumption. Though the area is clearly spick and span, for him, it feels like it lacks something. It's lifeless. With just one look, it can obviously be said that it was owned by a man, merely based on the decor of the space. Geometrically designed, but very minimalistic. Not a touch of femininity in it. Years before, it was home for Jacob. He felt so happy living in it because he could do everything that he ever wanted. But now, it feels like nothing. He feels like it's not his home anymore. It feels like there's no life to it. He knows that something is missing, just like what he is feeling right now, empty and lonely. He thought that the house needs to be refurbished. It needs to feel like home again. It needs to be alive again. But how? How will he do that? How will he make it alive again? He took a deep breath and thought, maybe it needs more decor, or it needs new colors, or maybe it needs something else. Something like a woman's touch, perhaps, he thought. And he concluded in his mind, the condo needs a woman's touch to be alive, just as his heart needed one too. And he hopes he could have both of that soon. While sipping on his scotch, he leans his back towards the backrest of the couch and tries to relax his mind. But all he could think of was how to approach the very special person in his life, the one that he longs to see. He takes a deep breath again and again. He can't get her out of his mind ever since he kissed her before he left abroad 3 years ago. They didn't talk after that night, even though he had so many things to tell her. One, for instance, was to explain why he kissed her, but he was not given a chance to speak at that moment. He was shut out at the door, and he could do nothing about it. He tried calling her many times to say what he needed to say, but she never took his calls. It was so frustrating for him to think that they just lost touch after that incident. All he knew was that there was something in that kiss, something really good. And he already knew what it meant for him, but he doesn't really know what it meant for her. How could he know? It was so confusing to him. He could feel how she felt for him, because he felt it in that kiss. But how she reacted towards him afterward made him doubt himself. All he could see was that she was so upset with him because of what he did. But why? He breathed deeply while closing his eyes, wondering what he did wrong. But then his face frowned upon arriving at something he didn't expect to think of in some sort. He thought, what if she felt harassed by him, and that's why she was upset? Now, he felt embarrassed thinking about it. It wasn't his intention to make her feel that way. He took another deep breath and tried to take that thought out of his mind. But then another thought came to his senses. What if she doesn't like the way he kissed her? He paused for a second. Nah, he said, as he shook his head and smiled. That thought is the least of his worries. He believed he is a good kisser. Not only that, he knew how good of a kisser he is, because all the girls that he kissed would always express it to him. He had a lot of practice growing up, and that makes him an expert in that ordeal. But something popped into his head as he drank the last shot of liquid from his glass. He thought, maybe she reacted that way because of guilt that she felt after having that kiss. Now he froze for a moment while looking at the ceiling. That could be some sort of a reason. After all, she was engaged to someone at that moment when the kiss happened. He felt guilty about that too, but he only acted on it to his heart's content. He's been controlling what he felt for her for a very long time, and he just can't control his feelings anymore at that moment. That's why he did what he did. But that's all in the past now. What is important right now is how to face her again. In a matter of hours, they will meet again. He was so anxious to know what will happen when he sees her tonight. Well, he hopes that it will be a positive one for him. He hopes that they could talk about that kiss and clear up everything that's in between them. And that thought was his driving force to continue what he had started on that night. And he will not stop until these confusions become clearer to him. But in the back of his head, he thought, above everything else, whatever the result of tonight's affair, he doesn't really care at all. He already had decided to pursue her whatever it takes. After a while of thinking about her, he then decided that he needed to see her before going to the venue tonight. It will be the most appropriate thing to do before going to dinner with his friends. After all, he doesn't want to have that moment of awkwardness between the two of them, not only for the both of them, but the rest of the gang. Although he didn't really know if the rest of his friends knew about what happened, since all of them were quite close to each other. And having a secret is very hard to keep from those friends. He really needs to see her as soon as possible, because he's been yearning to see her for so long. And his heart could no longer wait not to be with her. If it's only not disrespectful to wake someone who is sleeping at this hour, he would be in her house right at this very moment. But it is too early just yet, so he needs to wait for a little longer to see her. Besides, he felt like the effect of the scotch has kicked in already, and he doesn't want to face her loaded with alcohol. So he needed to sober up before he would see her. It was already 5 a.m. He realized that he was a bit drunk, and thoughts of her made him weary and sleepy. So he finished his scotch and got himself to bed. But he made sure that his alarm clock is set at 12 noon, so that he will have ample time to get himself ready for the event and not be late for the said dinner. When the clock alarmed, he still felt so sleepy, but he needed to get up and prepare himself for tonight's dinner. His head was spinning due to a hangover, so he took some aspirin from the medicine cabinet in the bathroom to ease the pain. Then he went to the kitchen, made coffee, brewed and black. He took his coffee at his office table and checked his emails on his laptop while sipping his coffee. Though he is on vacation right at this moment, he still needs to be updated with work back at home in the US. He just ordered takeout lasagna from his favorite Italian restaurant for his lunch because he had no time to cook from scratch. He had already prepared his presents for his friends earlier today and got himself ready after having his lunch. He took a bath and tried to look his best by wearing a black suit, no tie, a black belt, and black leather shoes. He also wore a very expensive Rolex watch on his left wrist, which was a gift from his dad during his promotion as the new senior head architect some years ago. He put some hair gel on his shoulder-length, layered, wavy hair. He is used to having his hair long since after high school, and he kept it that way. After all, long hair looks good on him and complements his oval face. Then he sprayed himself with his favorite perfume from Calvin Klein so that he smells good. He just wants to look his best when he sees her. He took another look at himself in the mirror for the last time, making sure that everything was perfect before leaving the condo. But he remembered that he wasn't sure where she stayed right now. He knew she lived in Makati before, but he had no clue if she is still living there right at this very moment. Jacob knew that sometimes she visits her parents in Tagaytay, or maybe she stayed with her friends like before, or probably she found a new boyfriend and stays with the guy if she's dating again. Who knows? He has no idea about her special girl lately. Leah, his sister, who is the best friend of his special girl, hasn't been keeping him in the loop about his girl. Not only because Leah got so busy with her thriving business, but mainly because Leah has been respecting the privacy of this girl. Jacob understands why his sister was so adamant to talk about his special girl, and he respected Leah's decision. But he needs to know where she lives now, so he got his phone and dialed Leah's number to ask where she lives. But his call went straight to voicemail, so there is nothing he could do but to call their common friend Sierra, who knows for sure the exact address of her. He dialed Sierra's number, and Sierra picked up. "Hi, Sierra, it's Jacob." Jacob greeted Sierra enthusiastically. "Jacob, oh, hi. Is this really you?" Sierra responded merrily in a soft, lovely voice. "Yes, it is me," he replied briefly. "How are you? It's been a while." Sierra responded. "Yeah, I'm good. How are you?" Jacob replied. "I'm okay. Getting ready for tonight." "Are you here in the country or still in the US?" Sierra asked. "I am here. I just arrived earlier today. I called you because I would like to know what time will you go to the venue for Becky's dinner tonight. I don't want to be late, or rather, I don't want to be early and be alone there, waiting for everyone." He replied, "The actual time was 7 p.m., right? But since it's Friday today, we will try our luck to be there before that time. Kyle and I will be leaving soon to avoid traffic. We still need to fetch Megan and Brad in Alabang." Sierra replied. "Who's Brad?" Jacob asked. He didn't know who Brad was. Brad is Megan's +1, her new boyfriend actually," Sierra replied. "Oh, I thought her boyfriend was Miguel, the banker guy," Jacob wondered. "Miguel was long ago. Long story. Anyway, Brad is the new guy. Well, not so new. They've been together for a year now, Sierra said politely. Oh, I see. What about Danny? Is she coming to the party? Will she be with you guys? Jacob asked. He asked despite knowing that Danny will be there too. Becky already mentioned her name a while back when Becky invited him to that dinner tonight. Besides, Danny would not miss her friend's dinner party. She will be there, she confirmed yesterday. But she is not coming with us, though, Sierra replied. Why? If I may ask, Jacob asked. She said she will be late. She needed to wait for the cable man to finish the repairs of the cable line at Liam's condo. She wants everything in order before she turns over her key to Leah. Danny still lives there, you know, Sierra informed Jacob. She lives there? Jacob wondered. You don't know? She didn't tell you? Sierra replied with wonder. Nope, Jacob replied. That's strange. I thought you knew, Sierra responded. Unfortunately, she didn't. We hadn't spoken since Liam died. Though I'm trying to call her many times, but she just didn't want to take my call. I know she needed her space, so I didn't push, Jacob explained with sadness in his voice. I understand why. You're Liam's family. She will always remember him whenever she talks to you, and that's hard for her. If Leah wasn't her business partner, she would do the same to her too, Sierra narrated. I know. Leah told me months ago. They will just see each other in the shop, and they will only talk about business, Jacob agreed. Yeah, I know. When she heard about Liam's death, she was so devastated. She wanted to go to the US to see him, but it was really hard for her to get a visa, and she had lots of business commitments at that time that she can't cancel. She was so helpless. She didn't know what to do, so she went home to her parents, but she couldn't sleep there. She always thinks of him, so she went back to the condo. She's having a hard time grieving, you know. She cries a lot. She was a real mess at those times. We didn't know what to do with her. We want to help her, but we didn't know how. We want to be with her, but she preferred to be alone by herself. We were worried about her then, but all we could do is to check up on her every day, either calling her or visiting her in the condo to know how she was doing. She doesn't want to go out of the condo unless it is necessary. She only goes out of the condo when she's at work, Sierra explained. I understand how she feels. I worry about her. I tried to come here to be with her as soon as I can to support her. I tried to reach out to her, but she never answered my calls, never replied to my texts. I thought she was still angry at me. Jacob was interrupted. Angry? You and Danny had a fight? Sierra wondered. Yeah, we did. It happened before I left for the US. Since then, we never spoke to each other, actually. You didn't know? Jacob was stunned. Danny didn't say that you were not on good terms, Sierra replied. It's a long story, but we did have a misunderstanding. Then, Liam's death happened. I tried to reach out to her again and wanted her to come, but she wouldn't talk to me. I wanted to come here after the funeral, but I have plenty of things to do at work, and I can't leave as immediately as I can. With Liam gone, there's a lot to be done. Things that he left undone. My hands were tied at those times. Business must come first, since a lot of people depend on us, and it's really hard to leave my people hanging. Jacob responded, a little bit sad. I understand what you feel, and I know Danny understands you too. Both of you may have been having a misunderstanding, but I believe it had already passed. It's been a long time since it happened, and most probably, the storm has subsided already. We know who Danny is. She can't stand being angry at someone she cares for. And I know Danny cares for you. So I think she just didn't talk to you because it would remind her of Liam, since he was your family. Sierra explained. I just hope you're right, Jacob said hopefully. I know I'm right. I think Danny just wanted to feel Liam's presence in that condo as long as she could. It's her way of grieving her loss. I'm not really so sure if she already had gotten over the grieving part, but whenever we met, I could feel that she is a little bit okay now. She is doing fine. Maybe she just wants to have more time before letting go of Liam's memory and things. Actually, she just started boxing all Liam's belongings last week. Besides, she also stayed a bit longer there because Leah asked her to stay. She has been planning to look for an apartment nearby months after Liam's death. An apartment that is easy access to her shop, but because of being so busy with work, she hasn't found a time to do that until now. It will be easy for her to move her things to an apartment or condo nearby if she stays at Liam's condo for the meantime. As far as I know, Liam's condo will be used by your family soon. That's what she told us, Sierra narrated. It's really hard to move forward when you've lost someone you loved. I understand her pain. I felt the same way too, Jacob responded. I know too. Well, what are you waiting for? Go and talk to her now. You still can catch her there. It's still early. Sierra encouraged Jacob to catch up with Danny and settle their troubles. Okay, I'll try. But does Danny have somebody to be with at the party? Jacob curiously asked. I don't think so. I think she will be alone. She didn't say about having a plus one. Sierra replied. Do you have a plus one? Becky told us to bring our plus one because this will be the night that she will introduce to us her new boyfriend. And she doesn't want him to feel awkward meeting us girls only. We're not so sure that you're coming, Sierra explained. I know. Becky told me that too, but I have no plus one. I wasn't able to find someone to bring back home with me, and I don't have time to look for somebody now since I just got home from the US. My sister Leah has some plans of her own, so I will be alone tonight too, Jacob explained. Perfect. Well, if Danny has no plus one and you two have none, then it will be the two of you to be each own plus one. It will be a good fit. At least Danny would not be alone tonight because you are here. And I think she will be surprised to see you there. She didn't know you're coming too. Sierra responded enthusiastically. I guess that would be the case. That will be good. Thanks for the info. That's his abrupt reply. It was hopeful, but deep inside, he wasn't so sure if it will be the case, to be real honest. He doesn't really know what Danny would say to him when she meets him. They haven't talked since the kiss they shared years ago. Though he believed what Sierra said a while ago, that the past had passed, he can't be so sure of that. He just hopes that things will be okay between the two of them. Anyway, will Ivy be there too? Jacob asked. Actually, he was a little bit hesitant to go if Ivy is around. He has his reasons why he doesn't want Ivy to be there. I guessed so. It is, after all, her only cousin's party. I think she will be bringing a plus one too. Why? Sierra asked curiously. Nothing, just being curious, Jacob replied. Don't worry about Ivy. I know you can handle her. Besides, we will be there for you to back you up, just in case. Hehe, Sierra assured Jacob. Thanks, Sierra. One more thing, Jacob said. What is it? Sierra asked. Is she dating again? Jacob asked. Who is dating? Ivy? Sierra responded. No, Danny. Is she dating again? I hate to ask you this about her on the phone, but we don't have much time to talk about it before seeing her tonight. Jacob asked with a bit of concern about how he handles things. No, we tried to set her up on blind dates, but she always declines our invitations. She would always have reasons not to go. We didn't push, and we understand that it's not easy to let go of a 5-year relationship. So no, she hasn't had any boyfriends as far as I know, and no worries about asking me about her on the phone. I understand the situation. I know you're concerned about her whereabouts, Jacob. I know you. You still have a thing for her, don't you? Sierra was teasing him with the truth, but Jacob just laughed on the other line. He was blushing. Sierra just hit him right at the center by being too straightforward with the truth. Why are you laughing? Did I hit the bullseye? Sierra was laughing too. Nothing. Just forget that I asked. Jacob replied, trying to deny the truth, despite being so sure about his feelings for her. He just wants Danny to know his feelings first than anybody else. That's not nothing. If it's nothing, then why do you ask about her dating then? Sierra responded, but was not convinced by his answer. Just being curious. That's all. Jacob responded briefly. He was feeling relieved that Danny is still single as of the moment. Really? Now I am intrigued by that answer. I know for a fact that you have a thing for her, like in high school, Jacob. You don't need to deny it. It's okay. Nothing's wrong with that. Sierra giggled. Hey, Jacob was speechless. Sierra was right. Well, you don't need to explain. I get it, Sierra responded teasingly. Thanks, say. Anyway, see you later, Jacob replied. Yeah, see you later. Bye. Sierra said, then the line is cut. Now he knows where Danny lives. Yes, Danny. The woman he was thinking about earlier today. The woman that his heart had desired for more than a decade ago. The woman who uplifted his spirits when he first arrived in the country as a teenager. The woman that is so special to him. The woman he can't live without. The woman that he loves. It's an opportunity for him to fetch her at the condo, since she will be going to the party alone. Besides, Liam's condo is a couple of blocks away from his, so he had ample time to stay there and talk to her before going to the party. He got lucky today, he thought. He smiled at the mirror while giving himself another look before going out of his door. He needs to see Danny first and check on how she is doing now that Liam's gone. He wanted her to know how sorry he was for not being there for her when she needed a shoulder to cry on, because he too needed one at that time. Now, he has the opportunity to be with her and comfort her, because he knows Danny didn't really give herself a chance to grieve upon losing Liam. He knows that because his sister Leah told him so. Jacob drives his royal blue BMW to Danny's condo. But as he started his car, memories about the past just popped into his head. It was still very fresh from his memory the day when he met her. It seemed like yesterday, but it was more than a decade ago. He smiled as he recalls the first time he saw her in the hallway near the principal's office. It really was a day to remember.